our population was under the age of 5. 24% is under the age of 18, and 22% of our population in this county is over 65. And if you just kind of do simple math, that really reduces the amount of tax burden and who the property owners are, what the tax burden is to the folks in the county. And I know that although people over 65 are not exempt from taxes, that their rates are actually frozen.
On school only?
Yes, yes, but yes.
No, the county and the road are also frozen.
Are
Yes.
they also frozen?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In the
City of Brownsville.
And also in 2011, the Texas Employment Commission just posted their May numbers for the unemployed in this county. And that number, I looked this up on the web, and I actually downloaded the Excel spreadsheet, and I'm happy to share that with anybody, because you know how that is when you go looking through government agencies and trying to find stuff. But that number in May was 9,828 people. And also the 2009 poverty level of this county was at 12.6. And when you look at all of that, I think that it identifies that it really is time to start pinching pennies. It really is. And so I ask this board to, again, you know, if we are not cutting meat off of, if we're not just cutting fluff, but we're really cutting meat, because this is about running the county according to what the taxpayers can handle. And so I would ask you again to really consider this budget that you're proposing for this year, the 2012 budget. It's 3% higher than last year, and I really would ask this board, I would like to understand why we can't cut at least 5, maybe 10% off this budget rather than increasing it by 3%. The history shows from 2004, this budget on this, overall, this budget has increased anywhere from 4 to 6% since 2004 annually.
Do you have the budget over there?
Yeah, I mean, I have what I printed out what you gave me.
Do you have the terms appraisal changes?
Right.
Okay. I think if you'll go down here, you'll see that the increases this year are due to contract changes. Contract by either appraisal service or things that are out of our control or cost. Up until this time, our budget's been pretty well skint. And at this point, I do have an office to run. I have a function to perform, and I need employees, resource, and funds to do that. And I can't do it on any less than this. In fact, this budget is actually cut less than makes me comfortable, because I have cut the attorney fees to the point that's concerning, because I have litigation out there. And so at this point in time, in order for me to do the function, to provide the service that I have to provide to all 18 taxing entities, this budget will barely get us by.
So again,
We hope.
We hope.
And we do, you know, and in excesses are given back to the entities. We don't, it's not something that at the end.
so that brings up another question. What excesses? So you do give excess back to the taxing entities? Is it to all of them? Is it all of them? So at the end of the year, when you have money in your funds, and you actually refund it back to the county. So would it not be a reasonable question to ask, why do we need to continue to refund that money if we actually have actual spend based on what?
We have to. The law.
Well, I'm not asking the question correctly,
No,
sorry.
it's a state, it's a law.
I understand that you have to refund it. I would wonder why the budget is not more in alignment with what actual spend is. So if you,
Yes, last year, I had for the first 6 months, I had 2 positions open. So in which were now filled. So if you take that out of the mix, saying that those were all, we would have only given $50,000 back to the entities. And so I think out of our budget, that is a very insignificant amount.
right, so you gave $50,000.
We actually gave 119, but half of that was for the positions that had not been filled at all. It goes with the position, you know, whether it's insurance, you know, FICA and all that kind of stuff. But if you took those positions out, it would have only been about $50,000 that was funded.
Okay. And again, so we're talking about what the tax burden is to you know, because your costs get disseminated out to the taxing entities, and the taxing entities have to put their portion into their budget, and that affects the taxpayers. With regard, and I understand, Louis, what you were saying about that, yes, it was approved, that you know, you went out to the taxing entities about the new building and the new parking lot.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
it was a public meeting
Absolutely.
open for everybody to
Yes,
come.
sir, absolutely. And I know that this year y'all are advocating to save $10,000 for furniture, new furniture, and also, I thought that's what it said, new furniture, $10,000 for new furniture, and $10,000 for
Computer and building.
computer and building. Okay, so it's the computer and the bill, so it's a total of
We're talking about a
$20,000.
software system, the one that, like, we just paid, that was $140,000. And so we exhausted all of those funds we had reserved, and so we bought our software system, but what we're doing is we're putting monies back, so when we do have to have an upgrade, it's not an enormous burden to the taxing entities. We have that money sitting in reserves, and those monies can only be used for a new computer system. And I'm not talking about the little PCs, I'm talking about our major camera
Right.
system.
Sure, I understand. And so you are reserving that because, is that for the new office building? Because
No.
aren't you, you're not reserving money for your new office building?
Yes, we are, but not for the computer system, whether we're where we are.
It makes sense.
We will
You need
eventually
that.
have to have that.
Right.
But the reserve for the building is when we can find another location to relocate, because we will eventually have to get out of where we are. That building is no more, it's not adequate for us. We're here is a good example. It's disruptive to the staff, it's disruptive to the board. We don't have any other room for expansions. If we have to expand, which we may have to do some stuff, because the state is auditing us and they're kind of mandating things that we do and don't have to do. And so at this point in time, we have no room for growth. We're sitting in a floodplain. The building has flooded at least once, and I believe twice. We have no place to move our records. We have no safe place for our servers. Our roof is substandard and is patched. And so if we got a major storm, we could lose everything we have.
I understand, and that, you have just spoken the same concerns that any private business has downtown Howell. It's in a floodplain. The courthouse is in a floodplain.
But I think that it would be more expensive on the taxpayers if our building, with all of our records and everything, was destroyed. And so we need to be prudent and relocate when we know we're sitting, you know, it's kind of like if you know you're sitting in the line of a brush fire, you need the time to start looking at, maybe I need to get my stuff out.
Aren't most of your records digitized?
We are getting more and more where we're doing that, but we do have permanent records, and we have, file cabinets, and right now,
Well, that should be less of a concern all the time, because,
Yeah.
everything's becoming more
It is.
digitized,
but
and
we
you
also
can rent
don't
storage
have-
space online and have, a safe,
And we're scanning what
Storage.
we can, but we also, it takes time and staff to do that, and we don't have that. So, when we have our storage times, we're scanning, and, that way we can get rid of some of the paper, but we're not gonna ever be able to do it in a short period of time. We have a lot of stuff on microfiche. It's almost impossible now to get microfiche, and it's extremely expensive. And so, we look at scanning, CDs, all of that kind of stuff. So we really cut down on our paper. But we still have permanent records and things that, by our retention schedule, that we have to keep.
I understand that. I totally